In a Colorado town of barely 7,000 people, 6 enormous self-storage complexes strangely dominate the landscape. These storage sites outnumber the town's banks, bars, and breakfast spots, creating an unexpectedly bizarre visual imbalance. Even more surprising, almost every single storage unit remains consistently full throughout the entire year. Carbondale's situation looks unusual, but it's actually a perfect window into a national American phenomenon. Self-storage isn't just growing, it's quietly becoming one of America's most widespread and profitable industries. Across the nation, storage facilities now outnumber Starbucks, McDonald's, and Subway locations combined. More than 52,000 storage sites stretch across the United States, covering cities, suburbs, and rural towns. 1 in every 10 Americans rents a storage unit, making it an everyday part of life. Many towns struggle to build storage fast enough, yet new units fill almost instantly after opening. Why does the wealthiest major country on Earth suddenly need so much extra physical space? The answer begins with mobility. Americans move homes nearly twice as often as Europeans during their lifetimes. Each move creates stressful deadlines, temporary displacements, and chaotic transitions that push belongings into storage. Storage units serve as pressure valves during life disruptions, buying people time to reorganize their cluttered lives. The industry relies on the 4 Ds: divorce, death, downsizing, and decluttering, driving consistent year-round demand. Increasingly, a 5th D, disaster, adds pressure as fires, floods, and hurricanes wipe out family homes. When life collapses, storage units become temporary vaults protecting whatever possessions survived the sudden disaster. People also use storage to create space at home for children, roommates, or unexpected life changes. These disruptions don't follow economic cycles, making demand stable regardless of national financial conditions. When times are good, people buy more items, filling closets and pushing overflow into storage units. When times are bad, Americans downsize, consolidate belongings, and again return to storage for temporary relief. Self-storage is one of the few industries that performs well in both economic booms and recessions. During the pandemic, demand exploded as garages became gyms and bedrooms transformed into remote offices. Online shopping surged, filling homes with boxes and pushing overflow directly into storage units. Many households turned chaotic overnight, and renting temporary space became the simplest quick solution. With $1 promotional offers, families found storage surprisingly cheap, accessible, and almost instantly available. Yet getting out of a storage lease proved far harder than getting into one initially. Ending a contract requires sorting, lifting, hauling, and reintegrating everything back into an already cluttered home. Most people postpone the work repeatedly, unintentionally extending their storage contracts month after month. During this time, companies gradually raise prices 5 to 15% annually without losing customers. A 1-month rental often becomes a multi-year habit, creating steady revenue for storage operators. The industry calls such long-term renters sticky customers because they rarely leave once they begin renting. Storage businesses depend heavily on this psychological inertia and resistance to the physical effort of quitting. Even small obstacles, dusty boxes, heavy furniture, distant units, discourage people from canceling their leases. As months pass, storage renters slowly adapt to paying the recurring monthly fee without thinking anymore. Meanwhile, operators carefully schedule incremental rate increases to maximize returns from unaware, long-term renters. This predictable revenue model makes the storage business unusually stable compared to most commercial real estate sectors. Weather shifts, seasonal trends, and economic cycles barely affect storage occupancy, keeping demand extremely consistent. The industry thrives because Americans constantly experience transitions that overwhelm the space inside their homes. With every move, breakup, death, or lifestyle change, people default to renting more temporary storage. This human behavioral loop is the engine powering the entire self-storage economy nationwide. Storage units are incredibly cheap to build, using basic steel frames and concrete pads with minimal finishing. Developers often select unusual or unwanted pieces of land unsuitable for housing, retail, or other commercial uses. These forgotten parcels become perfect locations for long rows of drive-up storage units. Construction costs range from $30 to $70 per square foot, far cheaper than residential projects. Apartment buildings often exceed $300 per square foot, making storage a dramatically lower risk investment. Developers appreciate the low overhead since storage needs minimal staff, low utilities, and very simple maintenance. Many facilities operate smoothly with only one manager handling bookings, payments, cleaning tasks, and customer support duties. Banks love financing storage projects because these facilities have extremely low default rates across decades. Unlike retail or hospitality, storage demand rarely collapses, making these loans safer for many lenders. This combination of cheap land, cheap construction, and stable demand creates an irresistible formula for investors. Despite its massive footprint, storage remains a fragmented industry mostly dominated by small local operators. Nearly 65% of American storage facilities are owned by mom-and-pop landlords, not corporate giants. They often use community-rooted names like Mid-Valley Storage or Tempe Choice Storage to feel locally embedded. Big brands exist, but they control far fewer properties than most people assume from the outside. Fragmentation keeps prices competitive and makes entry easier for first-time storage investors nationwide. A whole ecosystem now supports owners with analytics tools, mapping services, and industry-specific technology platforms. Some websites track zoning rules, demographics, and rental trends, helping developers find profitable locations quickly. Investors browse interactive maps showing where storage demand exceeds supply across entire states. Influencers now promote storage investing as a path to passive income, drawing thousands of new entrants. The hype fuels more construction, even as some regions quietly begin approaching saturation. After 2 decades of growth, some cities finally show slowing rents and signs of mild oversupply emerging. Newspapers warn of oversupply, questioning whether America might finally have built too much self-storage. Yet most storage facilities still operate near 90% occupancy, keeping revenue streams stable for owners. Even temporary slowdowns rarely shake investor confidence because long-term demand always returns. Demand grows because American lifestyles create endless cycles of accumulation, movement, and transition. People move frequently, experience disasters, or downsize homes, guaranteeing the industry consistent year-round business. Homes shrink while rents rise, leaving many Americans without enough space for sentimental or seasonal belongings. These pressures ensure storage remains relevant even when traditional real estate sectors struggle or decline. Investors describe the business as hot turning red hot, reflecting its unusually strong nationwide performance. But what benefits operators does not always benefit the communities where these facilities spread rapidly. Storage buildings occupy valuable land without generating foot traffic, local jobs, or meaningful community interaction. They create dead zones that disrupt walkability and limit potential growth for small businesses and neighborhoods. Cities like Denver introduced zoning bans to limit storage construction near transit corridors and future development zones. Urban leaders worry these massive storage blocks can block housing, retail, and mixed-use developments for decades. As neighborhoods grow, storage structures become barriers that prevent more vibrant and community-friendly projects from emerging. In Carbondale, one storage complex now stands beside cafes, studios, and shops, disrupting the town's walkable growth. What once seemed harmless industrial space now limits long-term economic opportunities in this fast-evolving small town. Many cities across several states now impose temporary moratoriums or strict bans on new storage developments. These policies reflect rising concerns that America's storage boom is undermining smarter, community-focused urban planning. Beyond city impacts, storage also feeds deeper cultural issues, enabling cycles of buying, storing, and forgetting. Americans accumulate more possessions than their homes can hold, creating constant pressure to hide excess items elsewhere. Storage provides a convenient escape from confronting clutter, often turning short-term decisions into long-running financial commitments. Rather than reducing clutter, many buy more items knowing storage space is always available for the overflow. This cycle strengthens e-commerce, retail chains, and consumer spending, feeding an endless loop of accumulation and hiding. The convenience masks the deeper issue. Many people feel overwhelmed by the sheer volume of possessions they own. The storage industry thrives by offering space, not solutions, leaving the root causes of clutter completely unaddressed. Meanwhile, cities lose valuable land to facilities that primarily serve private clutter instead of broader community needs. The result is a landscape shaped more by accumulation habits than thoughtful development or livability planning. America's storage boom reveals a country struggling with mobility, consumption, and identity, reflected in millions of rented units. At its core, this phenomenon shows how Americans navigate disruption by renting space, not by reducing belongings or reorganizing life.